is Irene Ngendo. I wear so many hats, so introducing myself sometimes is usually hectic, but I'll mention some of the few hats that I wear. I am a pageant queen. That, for you who doesn't know, is, Miss Someone and Someone. So I have some titles. I was Miss JQuat, that's my university, Miss JQuat 2019. I was also Miss Progress International Kenya 2019. Again, I was also Miss Africa Kenya 2019, and then won Miss Africa. So I was Miss Africa 2020. And I have also been Miss Grand International Kenya. These are some of those few titles that I've been able to hold, and I'm proud of. Apart from that, I'm actually an entrepreneur. I am a co-founder of a dance studio here in Nairobi. It's called the Mansion Dance Studio. I am also a teacher at the Mansion Dance Studio. So I teach a number of things. I teach ballet to kids. Yeah, so that means I'm also a dancer. I also teach coding because that's what I studied in university. I studied mathematics and computer science. And because of that, I am also a software engineer, and currently I'm working at Kenya Airways. All right, that's a little bit about me. So the reason I'm here today is to talk about the importance, or not really the importance, the how to live an impactful and purposeful life. I feel it's such an important question to ask ourselves. It crosses our mind, but sometimes we disqualify ourselves and we say that maybe I can't live an impactful or purposeful life. And I believe that is not true. In whatever office, in whatever seniority status you are in, you can live an impactful and purposeful life. And that's what we'll be talking about today. I like to call myself a high impact individual. And that's because across the board, whether it's in my relationships as a sister, as a daughter, whether it's at work as a professional, whether it's as a teacher to the young kids, I'm always asking myself the question of what impact am I actually going to make to these kids that I'm teaching, to my sister, to my friends, at work, to the businesses that need my input and things like that. So I consider myself a high impact individual. Actually, if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll find that I've written, I'm a high impact software engineer. And if you move over to Instagram, where I do most of the modeling things and pageantry, you'll find again that I've written, I'm a high impact pageant queen or model or leader. So every place, that's a question I like to ask myself. And that's a question I am posing to us today to kind of go through with you. So I'm not standing in front of you saying that I am an expert at living a purposeful and impactful life. I'm pretty sure many people have done so many more things than I have done, but I stand in front of you believing that all throughout the experiences that I've had, I've been able to pick out some gems of wisdom that I think I can share. And that's actually the approach I always use, even when I'm teaching kids or teaching anyone, actually. I think sometimes we think we have to wait for perfection before we can start giving, and I don't believe that's true. I like to think of it like, have I mentioned that I did mathematics and computer science in university? That was my course, so I love math. And if you are somewhere around class 6 or somewhere around there, there was this challenge we used to have of math, and you're told that there's this tank and water enters at this speed and leaves at this speed. How long will it take till this tank fills up? And I think now, aside from the math of it, sometimes we think that for us to be able to give, we first have to fill up our tanks all the way to the top, and then now our giving will be impactful. But in my opinion, when water isn't moving, it becomes stagnant and stale. So if this tank keeps filling up, and then finally it's there at the top, and now that's when you want to give, what you're giving is stale. There are probably places what you know is already outdated because you aren't sharing it as you are learning. So that's what I always say I do. Even when we were starting a dance studio, we'll not tell you that we are the best dancers in Kenya. There are people who are very talented, so much more than us as our team at the Mansion Dance Studio. But we started because we believed we have something to give. And in the process is when we realized we are learning so much more and growing so much more. So that's just another side note on what impact looks like and feels like, and the best way to go kind of about it. Don't remain stale. Allow that you're taking in information as much as you are giving out information. So as a teacher, I always say I am a lifetime learner. So I'm always taking in the water into my tank. And as a teacher, I am always also depositing the water out to someone else's tank. So that's who I am. And on our topic today, I want to start with something that I feel is usually misunderstood. I want us to debunk a notion that seniority equates impact, meaning that when you're the president of Kenya, for example, is when you feel you can be the most impactful, or when you've grown so high, you have more money and things like that. And I'm not debating that it is true with higher seniority or offices and platforms, you're able to do more, but you can also be the highest or the most senior person in your office, yet you're delivering the least impact. And at the same time, you can be the least or junior person in a space, and yet you are delivering the most impact. So I want us to challenge ourselves and entertain the thought that we can be impactful. And I actually want you to resist a thought as well. I want you to resist the thought of, who am I to make an impact? Resist that thought. All throughout when we're talking about this today, you're going to find that those thoughts are going to cross your mind. Resist them. Another thought you can resist is that I have no platform to cause impact. Resist that thought. You do have platform in and off of yourself to cause impact. So the reason as to why I'm also going in depth about thoughts is because before anything can become an action, it can become something that was a whole movement, it started with a thought. So that's the same thing when it comes to power, but also when it comes to defeat. It starts with a thought that I can't, or I don't have, and I'm not able to, and then it leads you slowly and slowly into a place of defeat. So you'll notice that all throughout this conversation, I'll keep telling you to entertain this thought or resist this thought. And that's because there's a lot of power in our thoughts. And actually, that's where impact starts. All right, so let's get to the first ingredient. I'm currently watching a cooking show. So I'm now suddenly into ingredients. So I decided to kind of frame this conversation around ingredients. So the first ingredient to living an impactful life, in my opinion, is uniqueness. Did you see what I did there? But yeah, I don't pride myself in being the funniest person, but that's fine, as long as you get my point. So uniqueness. What makes you, you? What do you have to offer that is so different from the rest? Even, for example, me. I'm a software engineer. There's so many other software engineers. What makes me unique is the different things about me that make me me. For example, that I'm also a model and I'm wearing all these other hats, that makes me me. And let's say there's someone who's wearing all those hats as well. They are not me in the circumstances that surround me, my family, my friends, the people that are around me. So there's definitely something at the end of the day that makes you unique. Believe it. All right. And as we are thinking around this, I started to mention the people around you. These are the things that make you unique. The people around you, your family, and your circumstances. That's one. Another thing that makes you unique is your experiences. That is your challenges and your triumphs, or even sometimes where you went wrong and your downfalls. So, as you're thinking about this, I want to share a little bit of my story and my journey to kind of have us understand where impact can come in the most simple of ways. So for me, as an entrepreneur, let's go towards that journey because I wear so many hats. So as an entrepreneur, there are a number of things that happened just because of me and my uniqueness. So like the friends I had, how I ended up entering into the business of dance. To tell you the truth, I was not the person who would have thought that I am such a great dancer or that I am even thinking about it as a career the way that I've been able to push it up until now with my co-founder. That's not me. I had never thought about this. But I had a friend, she's called Connie. Hi, Connie. So I had a friend and she's called Connie, and she has always had this dream in her heart and in her mind towards dance. Bringing up a dance studio where people can learn, a dance school where people can grow, and they just have that chance to nurture their dreams. That's actually what we say we do. We nurture the dreams of the dreamer, that they don't go, you don't give up on your dreams. So this was her dream, not mine. But as I was interacting with her after high school, she was looking for places where she can be able to dance more and try to go towards her dreams. And at that time, the things were really there when it comes to having a crew. It's like the only way you're a dancer is if you're in a crew or if you're dancing with someone or people or things like that. And that still happens up to now. So for her, she felt like she couldn't be able to do anything when it comes to dance. So I decided, you know what? At least I don't have two left feet. So can we dance with you as you figure out how you're going to, get your next, get into a crew or things like that. So we can be dancing with you. I just volunteered myself to my friend just for the sake of friendship, that I'll dance with you, we'll figure it out together. And in the process, when you end up getting that crew that you hope to enter into, then now you'll be fine. But in the meantime, so you don't feel like your dream has come to a halt, let's dance together. And then in the process, in dancing together, I found, oh, I actually like this thing. And in the process, I like to say dance called me, not the other way. Sometimes you have something in your heart that you want to do. That was never me when it comes to dance. It actually, all the time, it felt like a challenge, a continuous call that it got to a point I had to answer. So that's what I usually think about dance. And that's how I ended up in that journey of entrepreneurship, starting our own dance studio. And the impact that we have had in our dance studio is amazing. So you can see what I'm trying to say is sometimes impact comes in the most surprising of ways. Just a kind gesture to your friend. Let's dance till you figure it out. That ended up being so impactful because we have taught so many kids, 30 plus kids in different schools and in our studio as well. We've taught them, we've impacted their lives directly because in our teaching method, we don't just teach dance for the technique of it. We teach even emotional well-being and growth and so many other things that for that child, 5-year-old child, 10-year-old child to learn, it's heavy impact. So I ended up having impact in a place where I wouldn't even have put myself there and say that this is where I can cause impact, just by the virtue of understanding my surrounding is unique to me. If I didn't reach out my hand to help Connie in her dream, you don't know, maybe no one would have done it on her end. It's for me to acknowledge that she is part of my surrounding. She is here for me to help. Then when I did that, I caused so much impact. And in the process, I also received so much blessing with each kid that we teach and all those things. That's just a small bit of how impact can look different. And I hope it's encouraging you to debunk the thought that you have to have a whole plan as you're starting so that you're impactful. That's not true. You just have to start with an open heart and a kind heart. All right. So that's the story of my entrepreneurship journey. But we also mentioned that impact is not only the people around you, but your experiences, meaning your challenges and your triumphs. So part of my experience in high school and in primary school, for someone who ended up doing math and computer science, there was a time in primary school I felt like I could not do math. I think it was a problem with the teacher, or maybe me, I don't know. I wouldn't know what the problem is. But later when I got another teacher, I was inspired to have so much passion and enthusiasm towards mathematics. So, but in the process, you see, my journey with math is I hated it. Got a good teacher that made me think, maybe I can do this. And in the process, I ended up loving it so much. And because I had the experience in my mind of how difficult math can seem, and yet it isn't, in my opinion, I was able to sympathize with anyone in class who was going through the same thing. Someone who was feeling, I can't do math, and yet everyone wants me to get an A in math. So I was able to sympathize, and so many times, especially in high school, I would have study sessions that I would volunteer myself to my friends and my peers. Can we actually just learn with you and can I take you through this concept? I would be glad to. And many times as I'm taking them through the concepts, I understood them more. So again, impact gives. Even when you're giving, you will receive so much more. So many times when I was helping them, I was receiving so much more than I'm actually giving, in my opinion. And that's my experience when it comes to math. This is a place where I learned teaching. That's when I understood that there's something that is ignited in me when I'm able to explain concepts to people. And there's a joy I have when I see someone change from a thought of this was impossible to a thought of I can actually do this, I might be good at it, because it happened to me. So that experience is the same thing in my journey of entrepreneurship, an experience of teaching, yeah? In my journey of entrepreneurship, I was able to see that it's something I can add into the vision and the dream that we were building with Connie when it comes to the Mansion Dance Studio. So I ended up being the lead teacher at the Mansion Dance Studio, because as much as I might not be the best dancer, when it comes to explaining concepts to kids to understand what we mean by this jump or this point or this turn, I'm able to really break it down that they can understand it. And it causes me so much joy. Again, impact happens because of your surroundings. So who was surrounding me at that time? Connie. And your experiences. What are my experiences? The fact that I ended up loving teaching by just volunteering to help people because I saw what this teacher in primary school did that was so different for me. From a place where I couldn't believe I could do this thing to a place where I could. So that's what I believe impact is about. That's what causes you to be unique. So when I'm saying your uniqueness, I'm not asking for you to go and get something that is so outside there. No, it's those simple things about you. Like the simple thing about me that I believe is kindness. The simple thing about me that I believe is I always give 100% to every one of my friendship. The simple thing that I think I understand this concept of math, can I teach it to you? Those are the things that ended up becoming a journey at the end of it that there's so much impact I have delivered in entrepreneurship as a co-founder of a dance studio. So when I'm asking you to look at uniqueness, just ask yourself those simple questions. Who am I? What do I like? What comes easy to me? What are my values? Those are the questions you ask yourself, and you will understand you. So I want to leave you with a thought that your story can be valuable. Your story is a lesson that, when shared, can illuminate paths for others. Stay with that thought, and we'll see you after the break.
in my mind.
The team plays a very vital aspect in having a general good mindset, especially the support of the team in training and out of training, being together, talking over life issues and talking over the career and talking over the barriers that we encounter in the sport and also in life in general. So there's always a saying that if you are able to share your challenges, it is already halfway solved. So it's very important and vital for me or for everyone to have a great team around you.
Me being a new member of the team, I feel like it's a great environment to share struggles with one another. There's a lot of people, so it would make sense that someone has probably hit a struggle what you've had in the past, and it would be really good to reflect ideas off one another, and we can all make steps together and move forward.
Teamwork actually is, a team is a group of people we trust in each other. And the trust that we have within ourselves is what actually gives us a strong mindset. And you know, it's a mutual interest that today you are really very strong, and if you are not strong today, then you follow the team. Tomorrow you are strong, then they follow you. And that's the mindset that we have created actually in the whole group.
Yeah, I'm helping others also with my experience, and it's actually calming because you know what to do, you know what to expect, you know what's like to run 2-4, you know what's to be like to finish the podium. So yeah.
Going through a great challenge, I always overcome it from the previous seasons, and that keeps me going that I'll also overcome it. And of course, with the great support and great team around, is something that keeps me motivated and always to be patient.
For me, it's important to recognize where you're going into the future and how to overcome certain obstacles.
I think the body physically adapts to how your mindset is. So I think a good mindset will help you achieve your goals and dreams.
Everywhere, GBS.
The second ingredient to living a purposeful and impactful life is passion. We know what passion is. It's the thing you can't not do. It's what sets your soul on fire. What do you always find yourself yearning for? Even if you're not sure how you're going to do it, it's always in your heart and kind of at the back of your mind that you would love to do this and you can't do it, even if you have no idea how. That's actually my story with modeling. I always just felt and thought, I can do this modeling thing. I can be on stage and I can do the walk and I can, all those things. That was my story with modeling. And yet I had never even done anything remotely that was close to modeling. And yet after high school, I remember going to town alone, I think around 8 p.m. I was alone in town and I get into one of these shops and I'm searching for pageant heels, so shoes that are perfect for modeling. So I'm looking around this shop and this other shop, all alone in town. And then I finally got my heels and I bought them. It took 1.5 years before I could use those heels. So clearly there was a lot of passion towards modeling. I believed I could do it so much so that I used my little coins to actually get the shoes. And even if it took 1.5 years, I ended up actually doing it. And I think that's such an amazing and funny story that I always like to share. But that's the question. What sets your soul on fire? What do you think you're good at even without knowing it? It's just in your heart that you can do it. I think that's where purpose is found. Because purpose is not something you go looking for out there and you're trying to, I want to find my purpose. I don't think you find it outside, you find it within you. It's ingrained in you. It was with you when you were born. It's something that's always been at the back of your mind, sometimes even in your body, that you're just able to move or dance. And for me, I was just able to walk in heels very well without too much practice. So sometimes it's also just ingrained in your body, your DNA, I'd say something like that. And actually in my modeling journey, I thought that it's not a place of impact. It's just something I like to do. So let me figure it out and let me try and do it just for the fun of it. But again, because I did say that I consider myself a high impact individual, I found myself asking that question of, okay, but who is this going to help? Me being a model and walking on heels, what really am I doing that is going to be so impactful? Or is it something I should just put aside because it doesn't have any basis to deliver any kind of impact? And so before I get into the modeling journey and the impact that there was in it, I want to first ask you to entertain a thought. Entertain this thought that impact is not complicated. And you can have fun while at it. Because so many times we're thinking impact is you go here, you plant this tree and you do this and it requires a whole project planning so that you can make impact. That's true, but it's also not complicated. Lending a hand is impact. Helping, being kind, that's impact. It's not complicated. So I was disqualifying myself thinking that my modeling career cannot cause any kind of impact, but was I mistaken? Because let's get into it. Let's talk about my modeling journey. So I said that I was Miss JQuat 2019. And as Miss JQuat, I just entered into it for the love of walking on heels, in heels. So I just entered into it for that. But as I was there, I realized that pageantry was demanding something of me. It was asking me the question of, okay, as Miss JQuat, what are you going to do with your platform? And that's one of the hardest questions you can ask a 19-year-old straight from high school. What do you mean, what am I going to do? I'm Miss JQuat. Am I not going to receive something from you guys? Something like that. But this question is what I even believe changed my life and my mindset. That's when I started to become a high impact individual, because pageantry forced that I give an answer to this question. What are you going to do with the platform? So even before I went on stage and got the crown, I had to have an answer for this. So I looked around me and I was looking for the most complicated thing with the most heart that I can do and things like that. But that simply isn't impact. Sometimes it starts from simplicity and grows all the way to now those complicated things. So at the end of the day, I just decided, okay, what is happening around me? I can see that students are becoming hopeless, because I think at the time we had 2 suicide cases and it was because of school. So I thought, this is something that maybe I could think to do as Miss JQuat. I didn't know how, but I decided that's the kind of impact I would make if given the chance and if the opportunities come to me. So I get the crown, I'm Miss JQuat. Half a year goes by, I have done nothing to do with it because I honestly didn't know how to go about it. But then slowly by slowly, again, we talked about impact is the community and the people that surround you. There was an individual in school called Jeremy, and he was passionate about starting a club in school that was called STADA. I believe it's still around, if I'm not wrong. And it's something that is more towards helping students tap into their talents and not just academics. So we decided, hey, I can do that. I'm talented when it comes to modeling, and I think I have 1, 2, 3 things I can teach models. So I'm going to be the head of the modeling department. And that's the impact I ended up making in my year of reign as Miss JQuat. I was able to ask models who have gone to international stages to actually come to JQuat, sit down with the models that are aspiring to be models here, tell us about what it is we can do to get where they are. It was an amazing opportunity because I learned so much, and I believe it's also what set me up for my next title. My next title was Miss Progress International, Kenya. And this was actually just a working of God, because I was not preparing for that specific pageant. I was preparing for Miss Africa, but then a lady called Debbie Oyugi reached out to me and she said, I think you can represent Kenya very well at this pageant. Do you think you can find a way of going to this pageant? And at that time I was thinking, wait, to do what? Because again, pageantry demands that you answer the question of what are you going to do with this title? And specifically for this pageant, Miss Progress International, you had to come with a platform or kind of the project that you want to be running. And that was actually 50% of all the points that you were going to get. So the one with the best project really is the one who won. And at the time I had no project in mind. So when she's reaching out to me, I was thinking, wait, what? And then I was looking at Kenya's project description because they were giving, per every region, you're being given a theme. So these countries, your theme is health. Look for projects to do with health. And this country, your theme is what? This country's your theme is this other thing. So it ended up that for Kenya, the theme was actually health. I was wondering what? It's not even anything I was thinking about. But then again, what did we say about impact? It's around you, your community. I had reached out to another gentleman called Lyron, and he had started a project, an NGO, really, or a community-based organization that is called Makaya. And it was towards maternal health for women in marginalized communities. And I had seen what he was doing just in passing. I was like, wow, at such a young age, you've decided to do this. This is amazing. So I moved on from it. So when Debbie is reaching out to me to represent Kenya at Miss Progress International, and the topic is health, I thought to myself, who am I to not let this happen? Because maybe it's the grace, it's finally that he's going to receive the funding for this project that he's so passionate about, and maybe I'm the vessel. And if that's the story, I would love to be part of it. So another point that I could add about impact is impact requires humility. I think so many times we're thinking that impact has to look and have my name. So whatever project that I am running with, it should be my project as Irene. But that's not true, because if you notice, the places I've been able to make heavy impact is partnering with people in their dreams. I've partnered with Connie, and we have the Mansion Dance Studio. I partnered with Jeremy at JQuat, and we had Stada. And I partnered here with Lyron, and we're able to get funding for his community-based organization and help very needy women in those marginalized communities. Now, if I did not have the humility to think that some things are bigger than me, I would have been that blocker where God was trying to give towards the community-based organization that Lyron had started up. I would have been that blocker that no longer will he actually receive what he needed to receive. So impact requires humility, is what I would share. So that's my journey as Miss Progress International. And I did Miss Progress International, and sadly I didn't win. I was so heartbroken. But it actually prepared me for my next crown, because as Miss Africa, I was able to now give some of my winnings towards this project that Lyron had that was called Makaya. So if I did not go through Miss Progress, I wouldn't have thought to bless someone else with my winnings. I would have been selfish about it instead of thinking that there's something impactful that this individual is doing that I can be a part of. So now that I was able to go through Miss Progress, then end up at Miss Africa, I was able to bless someone else. And those blessings have come back so many, multiplied, amazingly and abundantly multiplied back to me. So impact is also about that. In giving is when you receive so much more than you would have thought you would receive. So that's my story as Miss Africa. And later I have so many other pageants we could get into. Later I went into Miss Grand International. And as Miss Grand International, Kenya, I competed. I didn't win, but I was part of the top people. And again, because pageantry has asked me that question of, what do you want to do with the title of Miss Grand International, Irene? And the answer was, I want to inspire people to cause change around them. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm also here speaking to you today. I want to inspire people to cause change around them, to cause impact, because I believe that every person has their own small percentage they need to push along so that we can have a revolution of just goodness and success in the world. So that's what I had in mind when I was doing Miss Grand. And I asked myself, okay, but how are you going to inspire people? And again, I thought, it's because of my uniqueness. So what's unique about me? I love to dance. I study math and computer science at the time, and because of that, I'm also good at maybe coding and things like that. So how can I put in together tech and the love of dance to actually inspire people to make impact? And at that point, I thought, okay, I'll probably do something like films that I can be able to put up on a specific website that I'll create where people can come in, and when they're looking through these films, they're inspired. So that was my plan. It was ambitious. I haven't gotten to that level yet. It was very ambitious, but there's nothing wrong with ambition, because sometimes you just fall short of it, but you'll still have gone so much farther than if you didn't dream. So that was my plan with Miss Grand. So even if I didn't win, and it took, I think a year later, is when I launched a platform or an initiative called Dance for Good. And Dance for Good had people coming into our dance studio. Now that at that moment I had a dance studio as well, they come into our dance studio, and for that dance class that they receive, the lessons they've paid, those fees go towards helping people. And we've been able to help so many people. We helped people in the Deia community during the drought and famine that was there. And we were able to help people in December, 31 families with upkeep for December. And apart from that, still with the Dance for Good, last year, March, we were able to help 300 girls to actually receive, who are going through period poverty, to receive sanitary towels that will last them a year long, meaning that this girl doesn't have to drop out of school for those, not to drop out, but not attend classes for 5 days because she's on her period and she does not have access to the things she needs. So this is just a small way to show you that it is your uniqueness that can create impact. I just took in the fact that I have a dance studio, that I have few followers on Instagram, and people who are interested to do this dance. If they come pay for this class, we can be able to help people. And it did actually work. This is what impact looks like. Simplicity. That's another thought that I want us to carry throughout our lives, or however long you need to carry it till it actually delivers the fruit it needs to deliver. Impact is only simplicity. In your simplicity is when you'll make the greatest impact. Right, so that's my story when it comes to modeling. And again, I would tell you that I didn't think modeling has the impact, has the potential to deliver that much impact, but you see it did. I was very wrong for not thinking that. It's a funny walk around the world, as someone once patronizingly told me. It's the funny walk around the world that has made me help 300 girls, 31 families, and so many other ways that we've been able to make impact. So impact is simple, and you can have fun while at it. It is ingrained in your passion. That was our ingredient 2. Let's head over to ingredient 3. Ingredient 3, and is the last one I'll be sharing, is practice of what I can give. It is the practice of what I can give. Impact is practice. Impact doesn't happen, you wake up today and you decide and then it'll happen. It's small and consistent practices that will end up making that impact at the end of the day. So it's as small as in primary school, I thought I've understood mathematics. In high school, I thought, let me share with someone who has been where I was in primary school. After high school, I thought, let me help my friend with dance. And after that, I thought, let me help this individual when he's running Makaya to be blessed with some funding, things like that. Very small questions of what can I give? It is a daily practice. Small acts of kindness, lending a hand, those are the things that will actually help you lead an impactful life. So this is a consistent question I've asked myself. I've asked myself this in friendships. And in friendships, for example, I've not only been able to end up being a founder of a dance studio, but there are places where I don't even end up being part of the story, but I was happy to cause that impact. My friend started a business in 2022. And it was just from a conversation we had. She is amazing at PR. She has a degree in it, but at the same time, she wanted flexibility to work remotely and still pursue other dreams on the side. So as we were talking, I'm like, okay, what is PR? I might not know what this is. And as she's explaining what PR is, it's coming to my mind that I've been seeing this thing on Instagram for like a year now, something called virtual assistant. I don't know what this is. So I shared, like, I think you might fit into this category, but I can't be sure because I'm not too sure I understand what this is, but look into it. And a year now later, come here in 2024, she actually has a very booming virtual assistant business. So sometimes it's in that simple consistency of just being kind. And that impact that she's able to deliver to businesses is her personal impact, but one way or the other, it's my impact too. Because if I did not share, maybe that thought wouldn't have crossed her mind or wouldn't have crossed her mind as early as it did. So you can be impactful in the small things like friendship as well. For me, I've also been impactful in modeling, and we don't have to go about that one again. We've talked about it at length, but I've made so much impact and I've touched so many lives just by the simple question of what can I give if I was to win this title? And in my career, this is the same question I ask myself when someone comes to me as a software engineer and says, develop for me this application. I'm asking myself, okay, why does this business need this? And how can it help you to progress? Is it going to help you to streamline your sales processes and things like that? And then I end up delivering it to the business and seeing the relief that you've been able to automate things for them that were running, were taking so much of their time that they are not able to focus on what is the most important core of their business and the strategy of it. Seeing that impact is just amazing and fulfills me every time I do it. So my parting shot when it comes to this whole conversation of impact, there's so many things I've said and I hope you've picked them up as well, is for you to entertain this thought. Being selfless reveals treasures you thought only came within selfishness. Thank you.
In a city of dreams, sometimes being present can seem nearly impossible. The early mornings offer up rare stillness, a chance to refresh and prepare for the task that lies ahead. Don't be distracted by expectations. Life often swings back when you least expect it. Don't burden yourself with past failures. Learn from them, anticipate them, and always counter. If life is a fight, we can either spend it letting the past beat us down, or we can spend it swinging back. History will teach us, our future will inspire us, but the present is where things get done. In a world where you get what you give, dreaming is just the easy part. Every day, there's a choice. Either wait for tomorrow to start a new chapter, or fight as if today was our last. Because when you have the presence of mind, there is no tomorrow. There is no yesterday. There is only right now. We don't know what tomorrow will bring us, or where it will take us. So today, leave nothing to chance.